enough. One is enough. One is enough. With rock spielen? Okay, sorry. Let's humor the boys. They have Madanga lessons every week, so we can see how they. So they are still practicing. Okay, then today. It's a little high. Just a little low, maybe. Sorry. Material life. Come a little. Like this is okay? It's okay? It doesn't have to be so close. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari 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 Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Radhajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Radhajana Ranjana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Madhava ki jai, Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. Two Madanga plays. Boys, put the Madanga on the side or give them to Stas. Yeah, so that, they're almost as big as the boys are. Wait, Vorsicht, ganz Vorsicht. You can, Stas, maybe you can help the boys to. What are? Okay. See? When you're big like Stas, you can take two Madangas in one go. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you for coming today. Today we are reading from the first canto, the book entitled Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Chapter 8. It looked like 18 from afar, and I was like, ooh, because it's like 1, 8, 18. Chapter 8, which is not in this part of the... I have a first canto part 1. Have you got first canto part 2, please?
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I try. It's really difficult to find something.
You try? Okay. Don't worry, we have our phones these days, which, if you have the right app, has the whole... You found it? It should be part 2.
What?
Part 2. Canto, first canto, part 2. Aha, success. Sorry, I should have seen beforehand. Okay, so the title of this chapter is called Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit Saved. Okay, text 18, right? Yeah, you see the 8 is the chapter and the last part is the text. No. So, as is usual, we go through the verse here. So I will say one line and then you can try to repeat. Give it a go. Kunti uvacha. Kunti uvacha. Namasya Purusham Dvaryam. Namasya Purusham Dvaryam. Ishvaram Prakrita Param. Ishvaram Prakrita Param. Ishvaram Prakrita Param. Alaksham Sarva Bhutanam. Alaksham Sarva Bhutanam. Antabahyavastitam. 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 Prabhus, please. Kunte uvacha. Namasye purusham tvajam. Ishvaram prakite param. Alaksha sarvabhutanam. Antabahyavastitam. Kunti uvacha. Prakriti param. Kunti uvacha. Namasya purusham tvajam. Ishvaram prakrite param. Alaksham sarva bhutanam. Antabahyavastitam. Vaishnavis? Ladies? Kunti uvacha. Namasya purusham tvajam. Ishvaram prakrite param. Alaksham sarvabhutanam. Antabahyavastitam. Kunti uvacha. Namasya purusham tvajam. Ishvaram prakrite param. Alaksham sarvabhutanam. Antabahyavastitam. Kunti uvacha. Namasya purusham tvajam. Ishvaram prakrite param. Alaksham sarvabhutanam. Antabahyavastitam. Thank you very much. Gopal, du magst Übersetzung, oder? Okay, super. Alle, das braucht eine Übersetzung. Vielleicht Kishori Kund auch. Ich weiß nicht. Vielleicht gehst du in den weiter. Okay. So we go by word. Kunti uvacha. Srimati Kunti said. Namasye. Let me bow down. Purusham, the Supreme Person. Tva, you. Adyam, the original. Ishvaram, the controller. Prakrite, of the material cosmos. Param, beyond. Alaksham, the invisible. Sarva, all. Bhutanam, of living beings. Antaha, within. Bahir, without. Avastitam, existing. So, translation. Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected, unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. Purport. Srimati Kunti Devi was quite aware that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, although he was playing the part of her nephew. Such an enlightened lady could not commit a mistake by offering obeisances unto her nephew. Just for reference here, so Kunti Devi is, within our scriptures, a very well-known personality, and her external role, so to say, was the auntie of Krishna, who we see as God, right? So this is a difference. She had a choice here. To choose whether she treats him like, say, Arjuna is a friend in a more casual way, or in her position at this moment, she pays her respects to him, right? Okay. Therefore, she addressed him as the original Purusha, beyond the material cosmos. Although all living entities are also transcendental, they are neither original nor infallible. The living entities are apt to fall down under the clutches of material nature, but the Lord is never like that. In the Vedas, therefore, he is described as the chief among all living entities. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. Then again, he is addressed as Ishvara, or the controller. The living entities, or the demigods like Chandra or Surya, this refers to the moon and the sun, Chandra and Surya, are also to some extent Ishvara. But none of them is the supreme Ishvara, or the ultimate controller. He is the Paramshvara, or the super soul. He is both within and without. It's considered that we all have a soul. Yeah, many of us do believe that we have a soul. And Krishna is considered as the super soul, right? Yeah. Okay. Although he was present before Srimati Kunti as her nephew, he was also within her and everyone else. In Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the Lord says, I am situated in everyone's heart, and only due to me one remembers, forgets, and is cognizant, etc. Through all the Vedas I am to be known, because I am the compiler of the Vedas, and I am the teacher of the Vedanta. Queen Kunti affirms that the Lord, although both within and without all living beings, is still invisible. The Lord is, so to say, a puzzle for the common man. Queen Kunti experienced personally that Lord Krishna was present before her, yet he entered within the womb of Uttara to save her embryo from the attack of Ashwatthama's Brahmastra. The Brahmastra was a very powerful weapon that could kill beyond our, just our visual sight. So it was aimed to kill a baby within the womb, and it said that Krishna saved. Kunti herself was puzzled about whether Sri Krishna is all pervasive or localized. So, just because everybody's first language is not English, pervasive, so meaning is he everywhere, or is he just in one place? Is he just in one place? Yeah, this is the question. In fact, he is both, but he reserves the right of not being exposed to persons who are not surrendered souls. This checking curtain is called the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord, and it controls the limited vision of the rebellious soul. It is explained as follows. Nice. So the translation once more of this verse. Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you, because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without, yet you are invisible to all. Mama Gyanti Maranjasya Gyana Salakaya Chakshunvitam Tasme Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tatita Sapadandikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasvati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. Thank you very much for all of you for attending today. I'm a little bit nervous today because we have very different types of orientation within our audience today. There's many of you who are on the monk challenge here, so it's also nice that you're part of it. We also have volunteers, children, elderly or senior devotees, not elderly, sorry, not elderly. I just offended someone, so please forgive me already, but senior, more experienced devotees. Young at heart. So in this way, it's according to an audience, one likes to speak of topics which are relevant. This verse was chosen today, so I imagine this aspect here that we see about this vision of the Lord, of God, of Krishna, being in two different positions, may be a question. How can he be here? And then I'll tell you, Luke, he's also situated in your heart. This is meant to be seen as the power of the super controller, that one can be as a physically there present in front of us as a deity, but also present with us at all times and in all places and circumstances. It's also expressed that according to the amount of surrender, it talks about surrender, this is the amount that one will see the Lord. Murari, please. Please. When my husband, when Ramananda, is giving a class, it's easier for the boys to bounce up and down. But I need a bit more concentration. They're very good though, huh? Very good. So yeah, the Krishna is said to be situated in everyone's heart, in all living beings, including the animals, not just in case of Murari, who, wants to share his prasadam with Vijay, it says at this moment, who's maybe deciding not to break fast until 9 o'clock. And in all circumstances, one can understand that there is a question sometimes that's called, where do I feel God? Where do I feel the Lord? Do I feel him present in my life? Or do I not? This is the point where it says I'm situated in everyone's heart. And sometimes people come and say, but I don't feel him there. And other times people come and say, yeah, okay, sometimes I'm feeling him. Maybe not today, but sometimes I feel him there. So what is it to be said that he is always with us and always within the heart? I imagine it's a question of one's personal faith and the path that we walk in our lives. Where God is present, it doesn't happen always to be in the case we're our most happiest, that we are in some ecstatic kirtan and dance, say, hey, yes, finally I feel the Lord. In the case of Srimati Kunti, she is original in the fact that she requests the Lord to bring more and more troubles in her life, bring it all on. Because in the presence of these troubles is she able to see where the Lord is able to either help her, reciprocate, or to be present. It's said sometimes when we have everything is going good, don't need to think so much, either bad or good, we're just going with it. But when there is a troubling situation, usually we call for help from someone. Could be the police, could be the neighbor, and it could also be God in these moments, right? And in this position, there is that level where somehow this process of surrender then goes on. We have an interesting case of Draupadi, another female in the sort of Vaishnava tradition, who is said to represent this idea of what is called Sharanagati or surrender. At that time where she was being humiliated and the men in the court were trying to disrobe her, the final point she calls out, Krishna, Krishna, save me. And at the point where the men were trying to disrobe her and pull the sari away, it is said that Lord created endless meters and meters and meters of sari. So as they tried to pull, it was like an endless pile. So to say, her chastity was in one sense saved. And it was a question, why, Krishna, did you wait? Did you wait till the final moment to save me? Why didn't you come before I got dragged out by these men, before I got dragged out in the assembly of a group of men? And he speaks about surrender too, that at the moment that she called for surrender, the Lord then reciprocated. Before, she sought surrender in all different avenues until finally she came to this point. In our own lives, we can understand this as we've heard maybe of this term of free will. So we have a choice in our lives to live our lives exactly how we want to live it, in one sense. If you want to go out and get drunk, there is a choice. If you want to go even to kill people or do things, there is a choice. Yeah? Some choices there. If you want to live with the vision of seeing the goodness in man, then there is also a choice, right? And with this choice, it is said of what pervades and what is the so-called material world, and a possibility to have heaven and hell in one place. You will hear from friends some situations which are very hellish. I mean, I certainly did growing up in London. And you will also hear of some very heavenly visions. Someone maybe living in Hawaii by the water, sort of just very peaceful, living in nature, being very peaceful. And in these choices, there is also a choice there to think, is there a place for God in my life? Will I choose a place for God in my life? It's not, I think, just enough to say, well, he is there, so what? This is a journey where we experience. When we accept somebody in our life, then it's a different experience, it's a different personal experience that we have with the Lord. It's not like, oh, I have children, whatever, get on with them. But it's a relationship based on love and appreciation. The Madanga was played in a very special way today. But I was smiling because of the sheer concentration on both of these two young boys' faces. They're sort of real trying to catch the beat. Yes, you're smiling. That was nice. You did try your best. And in the same way, in terms of our own experience of life, are questions to be had. And no part of this process, I think, or in any true spiritualist or process can one say, you just must believe what I tell you. It is a process of experiencing as well. Yes, of understanding. Okay, well, what does it mean? No, I don't get it at all. It could be this. How can he be there and he be here, also here, and there, and there, and there, and there? Well, that doesn't make sense to me. Or you could be, okay, it makes some sort of sense to me. In the beginning of the first canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it is said that one can read it not with having utter faith in what one is reading, but just with this openness that theoretically it could be true. And with this openness, one can have a discussion, right? One can sort of think, okay, could be. It might not be, right? But it could be. And in this way, when we approach our lives, we will hopefully entertain a more authentic version of ourselves. I don't also know whether to put the microphone closer. I always feel like I should speak like this, but Stas tells me online it's okay. But it is quiet. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, I should try to speak. Is that better? Yeah. Yeah, you have many people who are listening around. The second part, which is the part that actually Subal Gopal Prabhu requested, was a talk about speaking of the behavior between men and women. And I tried to find a good leap here. On one element, we have Srimad Kunti Devi, who is a famous Vaishnavi. So Vaishnavi, meaning we refer to ourselves as Vaishnavas, the men, or Vaishnavis, the ladies, right? So she's an example of a very, so to say, intelligent, spiritual Vaishnavi in our tradition. And here she approaches the Lord, paying respects to him and trying to understand his existence, both within and without everything. So this is one aspect, right? An aspect of learning and understanding God. That is the principal meaning of being in the temple. At the other side, so one of you Vaishnavis asked this question: why are the men and ladies segregated here? Why is there this separation in one sense here? Often it comes up as a question, and I wonder if we make it a little bit interactive now. Sorry, Stas, because I may need a microphone. Yeah? Willing to? Yeah. So Charlie. Murari thinks we're doing some addition work now. Should I take from here? So before we go into just what may be referred to as Vaishnava etiquette and how and what and this, I think it's very important to understand where our own views are. So, respectfully, I ask on this, we talk about the the subject of men and women. You see, I divided it up, positives, and a smaller level, the negatives. Oh, Murari has something to say. I don't know if it'll be relevant.
Kann ich da was hinschreiben?
Kann ich was hinschreiben? You could, Murari, if you could write a little bit better. Du kannst vielleicht nächstes Jahr machen, okay? Und du kannst gut buchstabieren. Okay? So what's your vision? If you think about, what do I think of as of women or men? Any viewpoints? Should I start up? I'll start up because it can feel a little bit uncomfortable. So let's break the ice. So as one, which maybe goes to both, could be distraction. Could be. Huh? Could be distracted by these beautiful boys here. Huh? Distraction. Let me see if someone else agrees with this point. Then I will go into it later. Chari, what do you see as women? Mama. So you see as mothers, huh? Oh, when Chari sees men as fathers. Okay. Oh, okay, we have an Ablenkung. This is a distraction. A beautiful distraction, yeah, but nice. Lilita, what about women? What's your view on women? It's easier to speak about one's own gender.
Yeah, I would say safety, this feeling of protection. Yeah. Just, I was contemplating on this topic when I was a teenager and I had a partying time and I was going to the club and I could experience this when everybody is mixed, and then then a woman doesn't feel safety. She needs to be always aware how to protect herself.
I need a little time. You need a little time. Vijay, what's it like being a boy? Sorry, a Prabhu, a man.
But what exactly to say about, like, what about men or how to be a boy? What's like?
Okay, so what's your vision towards them? Like, strong, could be anything that I don't want to put too many words in your face. What do you, when I say to you the idea of men or women?
For men, like being oftentimes together, doing things together. Yeah.
Team morale, the group.
Yeah, like.
A group of 3 of you also that came together, sort of togetherness. Teenager? Teenager. Yeah, that could be both. But maybe for women it's also relevant together. Maybe men also feel more protected in a group. I say this.
You take
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I really make a lot of work for the sound person. I'm sorry about this. Sometimes it has been. Oh, okay.
Men are strong.
Oh, men are strong, huh? Men are strong. Ladies? Men are strong. Yeah. Men are strong. Oh, sorry, you were meant to have another microphone. I have no idea how it works.
Also, I think women are strong and they are enduring a lot of pain during pregnancy and birth.
Yeah? Okay. Anyone courageous enough to say any negatives on the... Prabhu behind you, Lou. Just behind you can just say.
Sorry.
Thanks.
What's your good name?
Jeremias. Jeremias.
Jeremias. Sorry, Jeremias.
For men, more of a negative, but sometimes it can also be sort of a positive, is childishness.
Childishness. Okay. Okay. When I see us ladies can also be a bit childish sometimes. No.
Vielleicht Arbeit.
Arbeit. Okay. Beide, oder? Beide macht Arbeit. Ja. Gut. Both work. Both work. Let's schreibe es in Englisch, okay? Arbeit bedeutet work in English. Okay, super. I forgot your name.
Jeremias.
Jeremias. Okay, Jeremias. Two, super, sorry, behind you.
So maybe more for men and also positive, but also negative, to controlling tendency.
Control. Kommt ein Blumen hin, Anything else? Please, from our young monks behind. We have one. Okay.
Big ego.
Who?
No, for men.
For men. Oh, big ego. Oh, sorry, big ego.
Not so big. With how you have a little big. I have big ego. Yes.
Do you have anything for the ladies, which could be seen as a little bit of a huh? Nothing. Oh, so nice. Oh, such nice boys we have here. Emotional.
Like to complain.
Oh, like to complain. Oh. Sorry.
Was ist das?
I don't know who said emotional. Who said emotional here? Okay, I'm going to put that as a positive here. Yeah.
I'm thinking that actually any
You need a microphone. It's just online, you don't hear anything.
So I just got a thought that any quality which you write as positive, if so, it has like a shadow, negative shadow, and it can be also extreme. It always has an extreme side. So like emotional, you wrote, actually it is positive, but if it is extreme, then it is negative.
Yeah, so I've been married 13 years, so I can say, at least in my experience, if I'm able to express my emotion in a way that somehow seems reasonable, then it's easier for my husband to understand. But if I'm just like a blur of emotion, if I go to maybe another lady, she will just get it somehow. On the other side of it, one also understands seem to be sometimes some subtle language differences. That it can be, I'll just say a few words to you, you get it, but I have the same conversation maybe with your partner or whoever else, and they're like, what is she talking about? What's the problem here? So it's like there's some sort of communication stuff. Beautiful, beautiful, Morari. So here we have emotional, that's an example. Also strong, very good. I have some boxes downstairs, by the way, that I just couldn't lift. So I don't have a problem to say, Brian, can you help me bring them upstairs? Because certainly you're stronger. However, if we use our strength against another lady or someone inferior to us, that then also, of course, becomes a negative. Childishness, this is also can be a little, we can joke and be like this. However, it's also understood that in the childlike innocence of our approach to the Lord, it's where we can understand Him a bit more. Okay, Morari, genug jetzt, du kannst weitermachen später, okay? He at least is in his, what do you say? He's a controller. He was a controller. Yeah, the boys definitely rule the house, it seems, somehow. Do make fun that I live in a brahmacharya ashram because I have 2 boys and a husband. The controlling tendency, generally it's said that we have it all within ourselves. However, externally manifested, it can be seen as a male thing. You could also be in a female body and be like, no, I want to do it this way, and this is the only way because I think that's right. What are you? Bitte. Gehst du? Cannot like budge the whole thing without. Don't want to destroy. Was sagt das? Oh, Vijay. Okay, Vijay. This is how it's. Is this Vijay is stark, oder? Is this is strong? No, genug. It's okay. Enough. Like a vision of all incorporation. Now, big ego. Who said big ego? Big ego. What do you mean by this, big ego? You have a microphone, I think, somewhere there.
Who said you? What is the question?
Can you explain it a little bit more? What do you mean by big ego? Was bedeutet das?
Ja, dass man sich auch schnell vielleicht angegriffen fühlt oder man denkt, man muss sich gleich verteidigen und sein eigenes Ego verteidigen.
What does verteidigen mean? Defend? Defend.
When one is attacked.
Aha, yeah, like, oh.
Man fühlt sich beleidigt schnell oder so.
Yeah, you start with me, come on, and the shoulders go out. That's in a stereotypical way, yeah? Don't start with me in our own way. Yeah, it can be in this way. Any more on this? Stas?
Can I also add that minus of men's that is more difficult to control sexual desire.
Aha. Okay. Thank you for your openness in expressing this. No, I mean, that's part of our authenticity, right? If we sit also in a temple or any place, but we don't talk about actually what's going on, then somehow it's a little bit like, what's the point? You know, like what are we doing? We're just living a life which is like being as a shell. Muradi, no. We still have childishness here, yeah? What do we do with this situation? I don't know. We let him be. Bhakti Tirtha Swami, he was quite a progressive lecturer. He always encouraged children to be part of the class. There's an understanding that we are somewhat a community, right, of followers, not just isolated people, huh? Men, women, or whatever. But we're actually so we allow his behavior. We've already discussed it. Murat, kannst du bitte aufhören? Bitte. Soll ich Daddy rufen? I used the Papa fret. I don't know if you got that. When I mention the word Papa, willkommen, somehow it works. I would like to say I don't need to use that, but somehow I don't know if it's the ego thing. Men respect a powerful man. I don't know what the vision is behind it. Maybe you will have one understanding. But like, say normally in a woman's perspective, it's more, we just require a little bit more of the motherly love. And my husband explains the boys need a bit more of a stronger hand. I don't know, like maybe it's not, I don't mean you don't hit them or anything like this, not at all. Yeah. You have to like be very authoritative in your way. But it is different. Huh? If I have too much heaviness, then I feel more like I'm shrinking as a person, not like this. You'll see there are many parallels here, right? We have men are as fathers or in mothers. Strong, we understand in both perspectives. You could talk that a man possibly could be physically stronger. But for a lady, her endurance of what she has to deal with things like childbirth or how the body sort of goes through its troubles every month, is a lot of strength is required in this. So there are both limits. Please. Yeah. Then protection. Generally, protection is seen as a category maybe for men. So men protecting others, children, old people, women. But it was interesting, this point that Lalita brought up, that in a situation she felt actually she required the protection of maybe like a group of ladies or a few ladies in this situation. I've been in a similar situation, of course. And it's like, oh my God, where are my friends? Meaning the female crowd, which will protect me against the men. Now I say this in all fairness because my husband also says it's not just you who feels like this. When I walk in and there's a crowd of ladies, I'm like, okay. So it seems to be parallel in both parts. That there's sometimes, not always, a level of maybe discomfort, some level. Not always, So, as a point there, emotional, it is said that ladies are emotional, and mostly we speak about feelings or emotions and how we feel, but it is not that men don't have emotions. It's often documented, it's just this expression is not there, But emotion covers so many things. Anger, laughter, frustration, so many things. But usually, when ladies go, let's talk about love, it's already like, oh no, why go on this topic sometimes? Huh? So it is dependent on what we're talking about. This childishness, I think it can extend to both levels, but sometimes it is characterized here. Controlling tendency. It's ultimately seen as the reason why we have this material body. This is my world. This is me, mine. Everything is mine to control or to do with how I please. If it doesn't work to how I want it to do, then I'm frustrated. Yeah, so in this level. I am slightly distracted by the boys, as you see, distraction. Sometimes Shamanandini also pointed out that ladies, sometimes we like to complain. I think part of it is that it seems more open that ladies like to talk and talk and talk often. Huh? And sometimes it's not always the case for all of the male cases. These are sometimes labels. We're on this teacher training course right now, myself and my husband. And it talks about trying to keep the group in order, even if there are some distractions along the way, you know. So it's this, but openly. Okay, Murari, say your piece. Yeah. Okay, Chari, what do you want to say? They should go. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely... The thing is the stereotypes. I know also many ladies who don't like to talk much at all. They like keep things to the point, you know, and also we also know many men who like to talk a lot about what goes on. So it's hard to put people in a box one way or the other. However, I just wanted to open up this conversation that certainly somewhere there is sometimes this feeling of a little bit of differences, and also of this idea of distraction. This distraction often ties in, Shamananda, you asked me, due to sexual desire. Huh? This is maybe this element that comes into play. Should I get married? Should I be in a relationship? Shouldn't I? What's this? What's going on? And these visions can be so overriding that it stops our concentration on the Lord. Therefore, generally, you will see in a temple, there is a part of a separation for men on one side and ladies on the other. The vision is that we see, in eye direct vision, we see the Lord. And in the men's direct vision, they also see the Lord. You can say it's not necessary. So if you go to some big temples, like, say, ISKCON in Vrindavan, it's all a bit mixed together. However, at least 3 times someone approached me and asked me if I wanted to get married, you know, like in such an environment. And I was looking in that crowd, maybe like Lalita in this place. Where are the ladies? Where are the ladies that I can sort of go to in one area, just like this? And sometimes the men also feel that they're also pushing this one area. Maybe boys, you want to go home? No, you don't want to go home. No. So, in this level, there is a certain separation. Also in the ashrams, even when you go outside and you stay in a hostel, there's normally an option for ladies only. This is level also in terms of feeling protected in that environment. It could be that you're in an environment with ladies and the ladies are a little hostile, so you may not feel so protected. But generally, one is thought that in the same gender, one has some level of protection in this environment. Ideally, we are seen or understood to be souls. We have a soul, you know, we are the soul. It's not that we just have a soul. And there is this idea, I have to say so much because I work with the ladies in the ashram. There's often this conversation. Sometimes I have comments from the brahmachari ashram. There's a comment between what is the rights and wrongs as to how a lady should behave, and what are the rights and wrongs with how a man should behave. I purposely didn't use the term Vaishnava or the Vaishnavi in this point, because if we see each other on a spiritual perspective, it's a bit of a game changer. The game changer is that we are coming together. And Prabhupada said in a letter, in Krishna consciousness, there is no distinction between girls and boys. He later wrote, the girls also may become preachers if they are able. Meaning, on a spiritual perspective, if we understand ourselves as the soul, it's not a deep level of understanding to think I'm a boy or I'm a girl or whatever I am. That's just something, as we spoke yesterday with a group of us, labeling for some level of understanding. And sometimes it's helpful. You know, as if I was a single female, I wouldn't feel comfortable to stay in an ashram with, you know, mixed race. They're just personally, and I've spoken to many ladies who would feel the same way. For whatever reasons, protection, desire, whatever it might be. But on a deeper level, one understands that this is not the facet or the main part of the way that we live our lives. Sometimes you'll see in Shastra, or also in any religious institutions, that sometimes the ladies can feel that they are being belittled or pushed away. You also have sometimes this view in modern society. I personally worked in an environment which always had a lot of women and children, so I didn't have that experience myself. I felt always I was in a sort of safe environment. But it could be, when I reflected, because naturally the areas I were with attracted a lot of ladies. You know, I was working for the protection of children in a charity. So it was mostly, somehow, for whatever reasons, mostly a female environment. Sometimes we have presented ourselves in being in that sort of male environment, and it may feel uncomfortable. Just as for a male, you see this childishness is on the just as one may feel uncomfortable on the other way. It was very kind of you. One sees a level of maturity from all of you in the fact that you identified, even on the problem areas, from your own gender. There was no pointing the finger. Oh, this one over there is like this. And then I say, oh, you over there. And you're like, yeah, but you over there, you're like this. This is a level of immaturity, right? This level of maturity in understanding that we are all spirit soul is that understanding that, okay, maybe I choose to take a little bit of anything that takes me away from the Lord. Let me focus in. And then I approach the Lord in a direct way. We already have so many distractions in our lives. Everything, you know, thoughts and feelings. It's very hard to keep focused in on what is my spiritual values? What am I doing here without the distractions that go along with childish behavior? On the other side of it, it is sometimes we understand this viewpoint and these differences just for the functioning of where it works. I had also this element of the men on this side and the ladies on this side is also a balance of the energies in front of the Lord. I had a nice voice message from a direct Prabhupada disciple. She sent me a couple of days ago. Her name is Sangeeta Matagy. She's a preacher, and she spoke also in this time. It was also like this, that Prabhupada had, from the very beginning, he would have his Vyasasana usually at the back, centered in looking in on the Lord. And then on one side there were the ladies, and on the other side there were the men. In other traditions you have like the women behind or like this. But this was, in our tradition, was always, you know, that you have equal chance to see the deity, right? Are there questions on this? Did I not cover something? Please have a think for a moment. Please try not to be too shy in any questions that you may have on this. Stas? Oh, you're just holding the microphone for someone. In my experience, many Matajis, Vaishnavis come and say, oh, what is this difference here between the ladies and the men? What is the difference? And that's the main point that I will say in on this. That Prabhupada said, if you think you're a woman, or that means that you are less intelligent, that you are supposed to understand that you are a spirit soul and your real identity is transcendental to these bodily designations. That's the real understanding. The other things are just part of the process of how we decide to live our lives in one aspect. Often it can be like this. If the ladies and men hang out, then some relationships form. Not necessarily bad, but if you're here in this temple environment and the focus is on the Lord, then one tries to keep it in that way, right? That's one of the point. The other side of it is that it should not be, I am in my crowd, I am in my group of ladies. Those men over there, what they understand, they don't understand anything. Or the problems, I'm in my group here. What do the ladies like this? Not like this. This is not a spiritual mentality. There should be a level of respect and dignity in whoever that we surround ourselves with. It is not that we are in a group, as you'll see outside, and therefore in our group we then, sort of prod the other group, the other people who are not present. This is part of our own maturity too, right? That we have an openness of understanding. Some people we don't understand, it's easy for us to criticize, right? Because we don't understand the way of thinking. But if we're a little bit open to this understanding, we'll understand, okay, he told me I was emotional. Okay, I can choose to say, I see that as a positive. I do have my emotions. They're happy with my emotions. Or, he thought it was a bad, well, that's his view. Maybe he just didn't understand my point of perspective, right? This is our vision sometimes of what we feel, understand. Or, she looks at the husband. Do you have anything to add on this? Because, my counterpart, so to say.
Counterpart is actually a good word, because I think since the beginning of the universe, we have spiritual souls trapped in a material world, and they are trapped in two different bodies. So this duality, what is always there? Duality means also there is balance. And this balance actually is very needed to continue the material environment. And we don't want to judge now, material bad or whatever. It's just as it is. Nature works like that in balance. And nowadays, there's a tendency to bring this balance out of balance by making everything equal. And we thought that this balance, what is there since the beginning of the universe, now we will make something better. But actually we see there's more diversity, there's more stress between genders, and even more confusion. So, and I see this because there's so much tension, because men like to be like women, although it's never really biological, it's not really possible in an easy way, and women try to imitate men, and it's getting worse. So, where the balance can come is, I think, if we have developed a mature understanding again, and as you said, to value each other and understand that we add each other to each other's life, quality of life. Because when there's a mature relationship, like our relationship, there is all elements are there. Men need emotional input, because otherwise they are just blokes, they need some emotion to their life, otherwise it's too boring for them. And women, they need the protective side of the men. And if we would come back to this understanding and to some level embrace it or let it happen, to take our roles and take also our responsibility, what comes with that body, then we would much more, we could thrive much more better. Families would be better again, and society would be better again, because family is a micro society, and society is a macro family, community. So just some thoughts, because you put me on the spot.
Very
it
good,
was not really structured, but
no, thank you.
just
I understand if we were to accept each other, mostly ourselves, for who we are, and embrace that possibility, it possibly lets us to live our lives just as we are, without putting too much of a label either way. We are what we are, so to say. You have a question? Yes.
I found it very interesting that you made the categories, and then we had a lot of points where they could be the same, or they could... sorry, no camera, please. So we found a lot of things that they had in common also. And I also found the aspect of balance very interesting, because you could also see it in a way that every person has inside of them a feminine and a masculine part. And I think it could be very beneficial to everyone to experience both parts and not be ashamed of them, or ashamed of showing them. So maybe I'm thinking a little bit differently, but I think every person has this balance inside of them, and sometimes I feel that we are restricted in a way of that we can't show our feminine part, for example, if they are in a male body, or we can't show the masculine part if we are in a feminine body. So yeah, that's my thought.
Thank you for those points, Lou. I think it's also, I have to say, a lot of pressure from different thought patterns and also society to so much. I'll give a very small example. It's just something that popped up about ladies needing to have small feet. Just give it in, yeah? It's like a, sorry, because it's not a, but it's like this. It's like this whole, it's some pressure which is sort of almost unfounded and unspoken about, but they can even cite back to, say, Chinese tradition or whatever else. They manipulate the feet so they're small, because this is the vision of female beauty. Yeah? Or you have these challenges of what is the perfect person. It's like it almost stops anyone just having our human qualities in one sense. On the other side of it, I think it is everyone's individual choice to maybe cross over that, turn the phone off, throw away the journals or whatever stops us, and just to find out who we are. Some people are very happy being extremely feminine, some masculine, and some really, I would say it is a question of balance, but some may not see it at different points in their life, right? So they have to express and find that way. And definitely, say for example, when the ladies come to me, and I have also from this mentor of mine, which is, if there is a problem, speak up and out about it. Try to express it in a way that feels right for you. But also, from my own perspective, own it too. What is it? When you feel like you're about, what is it that's stopping you from feeling like one cannot express oneself? I'm not talking about you, I'm just talking about people in general, right? So in this element, it is this, For the boys, it may be, in my group of people, we don't talk about emotions, we don't talk about feelings. So find a few men who do talk about their emotions. There's definitely many out there, For the women, it might be like, I don't want to have this conversation where they complain about everything again and everybody and anyone. So find step away. Find other people who enhance you, who bring you up, who talk about the topics that you want to talk about in this way. Just sort of is a life experiment in one sense. I think when one grounds in, then you're open to the possibilities of understanding where you are, and who you are. I accepted it now. Like for me, people may view me that I have a feminine energy, and other people in the ashram may or may not have more of a female body but feel more male, and that helps them in their view. Many of them want to remain in this sort of brahmacharini view of life, so it's also acceptance of where they are, right? And in that acceptance of ourselves, it's much more easy to accept those around us, right?
So you're also saying that we should encourage being just the person we are without thinking too much of fitting in the type of being a woman or a man, like the society is telling us, or yes, because we come to the world with lots of differences, and everybody is different, and every mind is different. But I think also there is some part of society that is like pushing us in one category of being either male or female. So when you say there is in the ashram a person that's in a female body but has more of like a male energy, that should be all right, and that is all right, and they don't need to change anything about their body. They just need to be themselves.
You still have your personality in wherever you carry yourself. The problem lies that if you need to push it out to others. I'm like this, you should also be like this. That's where it becomes a little like, well, Society will give us so much, and as part of being in this spiritual vibration, we're trying to push away from all the constraints in that way of society. Too many boxes blow us away, and then to balance it out, we give more boxes, more titles. I'm like this, I'm this. He, she, they, whatever. It's like more and more titles, Essentially, it's this idea of just being comfortable with whoever you are. And more than that, when you cross this material vision of who are we as a soul? Sometimes the question may be, is it true? Am I a soul? Is there a God? These questions, at least for myself, are much more important than some of these. It's like, you go deeper, 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 right? And at that level, it's like, even if you don't believe in God, what is the purpose of my life? What is the meaning? Sometimes people describe this as a question mark that people go through. I'd take a guess and say many of you are around in your 20s. It's like in the 20-some category, But it's a very beautiful age because most people have had some sort of education or are in education. And at one moment when that education stops, a lot of questions come up. Suddenly you're not pushed in one certain direction. You could get a job, but it's your choice what job you want to do. You could go traveling, you could do this. But beyond those sort of external designations, one also has, well, what is the purpose of my life? What is my point here? Is it in connection with God? Those who live here, we live a life, we try to live a life that's in connection with understanding God in our daily life. Not just a religious path, but in understanding how does He operate, and does it make sense to serve Him? What makes sense is this process of Bhakti Yoga. And in those ways, one opens the doors. We are not here to be sheep. We're here to understand our way. This is where if you read, I think maybe you have Bhagavad Gita, you'll see there's what's called the yoga ladder. Many different possibilities in our path. Let's not close it off. Be an individual and embrace that part. Can you be an individual and also a devotee of the Lord? Oh, absolutely. We are not following an impersonalist. We are just one. We are individuals in our approach to the Lord and in our journey to the Lord, and possibly also when we get to the spiritual world, our individual personalities also.
So the soul, just being, is the most important thing, that we just be the soul and be ourselves. And we do not fit in the categories.
At one moment that we are the soul.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are the soul, and in this way of living, that we are part and parcel. So we are a tiny particle of the super soul of the Lord, meaning we are never alone. That we are connected in this way. And one sometimes feels this path that we walk is just uncovering this connection.
So the best would be if we don't need labels at all, but like you said, we need labels to understand the world. So I don't really understand why it's wrong to open up and, for example, accept that there is more than two genders, or that some people just don't feel like they're a man or a woman. I don't really understand why you shouldn't do that, because then you would just open up people to be more themselves, and it's you can't really push away all the labels. So
certainly can't. Lou, just because we've gone over time right now, we're in this. We can continue this conversation either later or thereafter. But I know many people have services waiting. It's like 9. No problem. The main part then there is still the material designation. So we can speak about that. But I'm just talking beyond that, like for it not to override the whole contemplation as it does for so many. Beyond that, is there something beyond just these designations? Because sometimes you can never get it right. If you say, oh, there was a nice Indian lady speaking on the microphone, oh my goodness, how dare you call me Indian? How dare you call me, it's so a parameter. But what it would be preferred to say was someone was speaking on some aspect of the tradition or of God, This is, it's hard. It becomes so PC, politically correct, that it's like it hedges one in. Yeah, but we can speak further on this. I just want to say, as an overview on this point, yes, there are differences. Yes, there are similarities. There are certain reasons why we have some divide, as we've discussed. But ultimately, please don't let that be the overriding level, at least when you're in this spiritual place. Our main focus is trying to understand this connection and relationship with the Lord.
Thank you.
Krishna, continue later. Thank you, everyone. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Vortrag ist fertig.